one question
Yeah.
on Amorim for both of you.
Correct.
Now, I mean, everyone knows, you know, what tactic Amorim plays. You can say that is one reason why we have struggled. Uh,
Right.
is because
I
of
agree.
Amarim's stubborn tactic, and also that he doesn't have the personal. I'll give him that. He doesn't have the personal
Yeah.
he wants. We are really a team of misfits. I'll give Amarim that much. But
Yeah.
what I want to ask both of you is that Amarim before this was a very successful coach in Portugal, right? And it's not
Agreed.
like he used a different tactic every game. He pretty much used same tactic. This guy makes Jose Mourinho look flexible. Um, how did he win the league? Even with the players, at some point, if you play same tactic week in and week out, teams will figure you out. And it's not a knockout competition where you can kind of, win on a prayer. A league is 30, 34 games. I don't know how many teams the Portuguese league has, but at least 30 games you're playing
Yeah.
across the season. Teams have a lot of time to figure you out. And this guy won the league in Portugal. So yeah, are we not giving enough credit? Like, is just players the solution to Amorim's problems, or is the Portuguese league that bad? What do you think?
Ron, I'll let you go first on this one.
Okay, okay, fine. Um, see, from what I've heard of Amorim's times at Sporting, right? It's not like he came in and like he immediately started hit the ground running. He did make a lot of changes in players, and
Hmm.
he did take some time to really build a squad which was challenging and everything.
Yeah.
It was not like an overnight thing. So, and plus, yeah, I think I do feel the Premier League is very, very, very like way more competitive than the Portuguese league. And this league is also new for Amorim. He's just come to England like in mid-season. So even his own adaptation also comes into picture, right? Like he's also still learning the English game and how to survive, how to play here, how to survive here, how to win here. So not giving enough credit, like uh, he it's hard for him, and it's hard for us to say at this, like for at least for me to say a lot of about Amarim right now, because there's not enough time, not enough changes in the squad to really see his system fully functioning.
Yeah.
So it's tough for Amorim right now. So I wouldn't go and say like, okay, he's having it easy or anything. Yeah, it's very, very early to judge.
No, but again, like Ron,
And yeah,
like what I'm trying to ask you is, like Amarim played 4 full seasons, and not counting his first season where he came very late, and the last season where he was poached by us. He played 4 full seasons at Sporting, and he got 2 league titles. And he pretty much, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but he pretty much played the same tactical setup throughout his entire
Yeah.
4 seasons, right? One would
Pretty
think he
much.
would have
Yeah.
been figured out by at least the second or third season, if not. But he, like, and sure, he didn't win the title in his second and third season, but again in his fourth season he came back to win the domestic league title. I think obviously second and third season is, side players, he lost players to transfers and all of that. But what I'm asking is, how did he how did he win these titles if he's so inflexible? Like, it just boggles my mind. Like, it feels like in the league teams have already have him figured out, right, in half a season. How did this guy win league titles?
I would like to go back to my point where I said that the Premier League is way more competitive than the Portuguese league, I feel.
It is.
And like let's say he kind of tries to do that in the Premier League as well. I think he will fail because in the Premier League in 4 years at least he will have to adapt a lot,
Yeah.
like change quite a few bit to really stay competitive and actually win, like to
Hmm.
repeat that thing what he did in Portugal.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily going to be the same in Premier League, and he will find out that eventually. Like he's come here now. in I think in Portugal it was kind of comparatively easier for him, where he could play that for 4 years and still win.
Yeah, but it's also
But I
not
think in
like
Premier League
Sporting
he'll
was
get
winning
found out.
titles, right? He won Sporting's first title after 19 years. It was pretty much a Porto and a Benfica duopoly before that.
It was, but like okay, I want to highlight one thing. I agree that they didn't win the title, but if you look at Sporting's league finishes in the seasons before
Yeah,
that,
they were
right?
second and third pretty consistently.
Yeah, I mean, they would be second, third, fourth, and there was
Yeah.
like they never dropped below third or fourth. They
Yeah,
never dropped
obviously they're
below
part of the
fourth. But
top three
yeah,
or four clubs of
yeah,
Portugal. I get that.
yeah. And one of the reasons for that is like the Portuguese league's construction is a lot more like La Liga. You have like your financial powerhouses in Madrid
Hmm.
and Barcelona, and they have way more muscle than the rest of the league,
Yeah.
and the gap is insane. So even in an off year, the level of talent they possess will pretty much keep
Hmm.
them at the top. So with Amrim, it was the same case. Sporting was still comfortably third or fourth. Sporting also have maybe a top three academy in Europe. Forget Portugal; they have one of the best academies in all of Europe. Uh, Now, when you factor that in, when you factor in the fact that they're financially part of the big three in Portugal and the gap is massive, right?
Yeah.
What Amram really did is he took a team with third place finishes to first, right? And that's impressive. But the way he bridged that gap was he took advantage of their outstanding youth academy, and that's credit to him. He did a great job of that.
Hmm.
But the level of players coming out of that youth academy is way higher than what you get on average in the
Sure.
Portuguese league.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's not the case at any Premier League team.
Hmm.
Not even at Man City can you count on that. The biggest reason he won without many changes, I feel, is the quality of the players. At every position, he brought in like players of a very high level compared to the rest of the Portuguese league.
Hmm.
Like he needed two tens in his system.
Yeah.
One of the tens they purchased was Pedro Goncalves from
Hmm.
Famalicão, if I'm
Right.
not wrong, and he was an absolute beast in that league even before coming to Sporting. He was a massive talent. United, and for that matter, even like most clubs in the Premier League can't do that, right? Like, or if you want to do that in the Premier League for each position, you'll have to spend like 75 million to
Right.
buy Van Dijk. Those are the
Yeah.
kind of
Yep.
deals you need to make
Exactly. Yep.
across the pitch. They did that for almost every position on the pitch
Hmm.
while being backed by an incredible academy. I mean, that academy produced Nuno Mendes for him at left wing back. How many Nuno Mendes are there across Europe,
Yeah.
right? I can think of maybe one player like him in Balde,
Hmm.
right? And maybe Davies, but Davies isn't even from an European academy.
Yeah.
So what are the odds of that? Uh, and I have this question to ask you guys, and like, take your time and think about this because I couldn't come up with anything. If you zoom out and look at all the managers we've thought of or just observed or read about in any shape or form, is there any manager you can think of who's defined by a single formation, who's tightly associated with one numerical formation or setup?
Honestly, no. I mean, no. I know you compare him to Jose, but I think Mourinho was a very pragmatic coach. He never was tied to a formation. I think he was
Yeah,
more
he
tied to
was.
a philosophy of, having a very strong defense, especially in big games. And, he was, I mean, yes, he was a very, very defensive minded coach, but
Yeah,
he was not tied to a tactic as such. Like he would play whatever it took to win games. I mean, that guy showed it at Real Madrid. He beat Barcelona multiple times with his
yeah. I mean,
pragmatism. So I think
it,
it's not fair to compare Mourinho to Amorim.
I
But
agree. Yeah,
yeah, honestly, I've never seen a coach like Amorim, and I mean, my footballing knowledge is limited. So I'll let uh, Rowan respond if he knows anyone.
No, no, absolutely. Like all the coaches before this, they were never. I've never heard of them being tied to like we.
Yeah, even
we
Van
kind of
Hal had multiple tactics, man. Like, come on.
Yeah, yeah,
we kind of criticized ETH for changing so much, right? For
yeah,
changing year after year and everything, and uh, that had its own like demerits, but and flaws and everything. But it's more like, yeah, Amorim definitely is a unique person in that sense when you put it like that, you know, sticking to one formation and everything. And I kind of agree with what Somdeep kind of what he said there.
Hmm.
Like, you know, just like how he was allowed to build at Sporting, it
yeah.
it's not gonna be the case at United. Definitely, like given the situation at the club, it's not gonna be like, you know, he's gonna get the pick of the bunch, and so he's gonna have to adapt a lot with what he's gonna get, because Ineos is not gonna come and, you know, you want this, we'll buy this.
We are
You
broke,
call this
man.
guy.
Ineos can't
We
even
are
Yeah.
give up
broke.
if they want
Yeah,
to.
So yeah, so
and I
it
mean,
will depend. It will depend on how he kind of adapts over the years. 100%. That will come into play, and he will see this more. Like the challenge is much bigger at United, way
Yeah.
much bigger.
But do you guys think, assuming Amarim gets the players he wants or the profiles he wants, let's say, right? Maybe necessarily not the players. Let's say he gets, obviously, we can't get 11 players that fit his philosophy. But even if we get like the main positions, right? Like we're still probably lacking in DM and striker and maybe wing back, maybe 3 or 4 players to have a decent Amarim tactic representation. Do you think we will challenge for the title or even top 4 in that case? Or do you
I
think
think
Amarim has a very defined ceiling which he will not go past, even with the players he has or he wants?
I always believe that for any like decent mid-table team like us, decent is a strong word, but you're always like five good signings in a window away
Hmm.
from competing for top four. Competing for title, that's a different story, and
Yeah.
I don't think like I think we're very far away from that. We'll need like 11 signings and more. I don't know what we need for that. But I can see if we maybe pick say 4 players that fit Amram's system,
Yeah.
like to the T, right? Because they have to like fit it really well. Uh, and they're expensive enough, a level high enough to help us compete. Then I can see us getting top 4 with Amram. Yeah,
Yeah. What do you,
and I feel
hmm.
because of that, Europa League final success is even more important for Amram to be
Yeah.
able to
Yeah.
afford those changes, because otherwise he'll end up with more like average players.
Oh, we'll go in a tailspin if we don't get Europe next season.
Highly possible.
We'll probably have to sell Ahmad and Garnacho just to raise funds because they're the two best.
Don't even joke about it, man. Like,
Which is why it makes more sense now that United will try and go
Yeah.
for the final win, right?
Yeah.
Go and get, focus only on Europa.
Yeah. So yeah, what do you think, Rohan? Do you kind of agree with Somdeep that maybe
I I
top
I
four is
I
like a
agree.
ceiling?
I agree. No, I agree with Somdeep. Because like with let's say he gets the team that he wants at United. Let's say he gets a good, really good team. I
right.
think he'll be able to get top four.
Hmm.
Yeah.
With that. And like this is just a guess. It's not 100%, but like I think like we will need a lot more to bridge that gap between fourth to, coming, winning the league, winning the Premier League.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
Premier League
Yeah.
is
I think that'll be
quite
harder
quite
than
a tough, yeah, tough
yeah.
competition to win.
I mean,
Uh,
Arsenal is
and
not able to bridge that
yeah,
gap, man, and they were
yeah,
like a
yeah,
way
yeah.
better
Yeah.
Even
side.
even even with
And they're a
strong
way better
principles,
side, a way better manager with
yeah.
consistent principles. I mean, and it's still difficult because it is.
No, you can't fault
I
Amarim
feel
for
the
not
cap.
having consistent principles. Come on, that guy is like probably the most
Yeah,
consistent
he's too
principled manager we have in the world right now.
No,
I really try
everywhere.
to think. I really try to think all the way back, and I don't know. Maybe Arrigo Sacchi's 4-4-2, and I couldn't think of anyone like who's lived by one formation their entire like period. And
Yeah,
he's been at it for a while, right? Like you said, like 4 or 5 seasons. It's not like super recent.
No, that was 5 seasons at Sporting. He's been a coach longer than that.
Oh right, I didn't even think of that.
I also think Amorim might like, let's say he does well, he gets top four and everything in
Hmm.
the
Right.
upcoming seasons. Let's say, okay, he gets
Right.
the personnel, he does well and everything. I think he's not, like, he is stubborn, yes, but like I am kind of guessing that he might change also if he feels from within, like, okay, maybe I need to change, then he'll completely stick to another one. I feel, because that can happen.
Yeah.
I won't say that won't. I'm not denying the, like, it
Imagine
won't happen.
Ineos gets him
But
3-4-3 profile players, and 2 seasons later, like,
yeah,
nope, I want a 4-3-3 now.
no, that is that
You know
that
what?
can happen. I'm,
That
I'm
will
telling
happen.
you,
That will
that
happen.
can happen.
You know what? I think Rohan's right. I can see this happen. Like he's gonna wake up one day and see a 4-3-3 work, and it's gonna be like this is it.
Yeah,
Like
it's probably going to try 4-3, then experiment in, I don't know, some Liverpool game. It works out so well with misfits. You're
yeah,
like, oh no, what am I doing all these years?
and for some stupid ass reason that's gonna work, and then like it'll actually work out, and I'm gonna be so annoyed that he just shifts to from one obsession. Like this guy has an OCD kind of problem,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
like
He can go from one obsession to another
Yeah.
one. That is,
yeah,
he can
yeah,
be that guy. Yeah.
he's just gonna replace his addiction with another one. That's
Yes.
what he is.
You know, before we quickly do predictions, I just want to say, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer doesn't get enough credit for having this team compete for league titles while he was here.
Yeah, but it wasn't really this team, right? Like
No,
I
sure,
feel like the
no, no.
team.
I don't mean this team as in this team, but I mean this dysfunctional club in general. He was
Yeah,
competing for league
Yes.
titles. He got second in both his full seasons.
he did.
And for all the slating he got for not having a tactic and just being a vibes manager, we had
Which he was.
two tactically stubborn managers after that, and they haven't done jack so far.
Yeah, I think with Ole, the vibes were immaculate, and that really worked.
The
Like
vibes are like,
he was
But
like,
ah,
but Pratyush, do you
yeah,
do you see the common denominator here?
what?
Like, managers, like, different styles of managers not working out.
because I don't think we really hired like a top level manager since Sir Alex left. I mean, they've all turned us down, rightly so.
No, but I
I
mean,
think I think
all
they
the
would have also
top,
failed.
all the top managers kind of failed with us. The only manager who
Yeah.
succeeded was Ole, who's not even a manager. He's like a failed guy at Cardiff and comes us and gets a second in 2 seasons.
Yeah, I think I
Got
also
them
think Ole.
relegated.
It, I think Ole at that point in time, for whatever reason, he, despite everything, he managed to build a pretty decent United squad. Like we did have credit to him for that as well. I think his squad building was actually decent, maybe even better than
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He doesn't get enough credit
Ole tactician.
from fans. Like,
Yeah,
That same squad kind of, like, was the reason he got sacked, right?
yeah. I think his final transfer window was a
yeah.
disaster, and I don't think he had full control of it.
No,
Looking at
he
the moves
definitely
that
didn't.
came out.